Hello, and good afternoon, everybody. Today, Josh and I will be talking about social media ad objectives. There's absolutely no way that you haven't heard about it. Social media. So, for the last few years, social media has completely changed the internet and the whole world. And in that matter, the whole world of marketing. And in this presentation, again, we're going to focus on the different objectives of marketing in social media and the importance to have those objectives clear and precise. So, social media has been a place for marketers to show their products, brands, and services to the world, becoming a key channel for brand awareness, engagement, lead generation, customer support, and so much more. But the goal here, and one of the things that we're going to drive home here, is that goal setting is extremely important for social media marketers. So, goals can have a huge impact in the outcomes that they want. So in the following, we'll talk about the most popular social media objectives that marketers use as goals, and as well as a couple of success stories from companies that have used this type of strategies. So let's start with brand awareness. Brand awareness ranks on top of the reasons marketers use social media, and it's actually quite easy to understand why. And if it's not, just take a look at your smartphone activity. According to a study from Social Media Today, people are spending around 2.5 hours in social media. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple of folks in our classroom that are spending a little bit more than 2.5 hours. And I'm one of them. So, having said that, social media is one of the best places to capture customers' attention. So, the main objective for brand awareness is basically to extend to which customers are able to recall or recognize your brand. Let's move on to traffic increase. And this is not bumper to bumper type of traffic, but is driving visitors to your website, basically increasing your traffic and therefore potentially turning them into buying customers. So, for example, you can create a video and display it on social media platform and basically allude or encourage people to go to your website and therefore accomplishing your goal of traffic increase. Now, you're asking, but how would you track this, and how would you know if people are actually going to your website with that particular video? Well, there are tools that are able to help you measure your results of your campaign. And one of the most popular tools out there to measure this is called Google Analytics, which can give you a breakdown of many different things, including how many visits you have from each social media platform. The next will be lead generation. Lead generation is typically used by companies with long sales process, such as enterprise software companies or universities. This passes basically the beginning of the sales funnel. So with huge numbers of people that you can reach, this is a great tool to get people on top of that sales funnel or start creating what they also call on the sales lingo as warm leads. So the next will be brand engagement. And brand engagement is one of the most sought after objectives for marketers on social media. And this is due to the fact that social media interactions can improve brand perception, brand loyalty, and of course increase your word of mouth. Also, with social media platforms algorithm often prioritizing posts with higher engagement activity, this marketing objective can have a huge impact in your social media presence. So in a few words, if you want people to see your social media post, you have to produce engaging content and respond to your community. Now, tracking engagement can constitute by likes, reactions, shares, impressions, and comments. Moving on with the next objective here is customer support. Now, this strategy is less used by marketers, yet it is still an opportunity for business to differentiate themselves from their competitors with the great social media customer service. So this can be tracked by the number of questions you're getting from your customers, ultimately finding if there's an actual demand for social media customer support for the company. As well, you can be tracking like the response time that you have, and also if there's like a customer satisfaction score based on those interactions with your customers on social media. Our last objective is enhanced public relations, also known as PR management. This is a strategy that follows a company's mention on social media and finds out what are the customers saying about the brand, following up with customers, and also responding to complaints in a timely manner. Now, responding quickly and solving problems is key here. It allows a company to stay ahead of large scale complaints, PR fires, and it creates brand loyalty. This strategy is commonly used by large airplane companies. So, next time you are in a flight and your flight is delayed, create a post on your Twitter account tagging the airline and see what happens. So, moving on to the largest social media platform out there, Facebook, with 2.7 billion users, running campaigns in this platform allows marketers to cast a wide net and reach a lot of customers. Or, on the contrary, you can get very granular and almost pinpoint your audience. And this is called detailed targeting, which allows you to refine the group of people Facebook shows your ads to. And you can do this with information such as additional demographics, interests, and behaviors. And these detailed targeting options that Facebook offers are based on ads they click, pages they engage with, activities they engage on Facebook. As mentioned, demographics, just like age and location. And with location, you can use something that Facebook calls location targeting, which allows you to basically pinpoint your audience geographically speaking, connecting people with nearby physical businesses. So to sum up here, Facebook ad tools is a very intricate tool that changes constantly and allows you to customize and target your audience in many different ways. I want to share with you guys a success story here. So Grammarly, which I'm sure most of you have heard about it, and probably through Facebook, but what Grammarly did and main objective was to build their brand awareness. And they did that by creating short videos that told a story, and within that story, they portray how Grammarly was used or was part of this story. So the result here is of this campaign was a reach target of more than 5 million people. And we got this information by an article by AdExpresso. And basically, the goal was to reach a wider audience, and of course, to tame what we call the CPM, which is basically the cost ad delivery. And so they did, and they landed a 2 cents per video views and a 60 cents per video completion views. So a part of that is that the audience was the bigger the audience was, the lower or more affordable the CPM was. But most importantly, Grammarly increased their brand awareness is by telling people what makes their business valuable through a success story. So having said that, I'm gonna pass it along to Josh, who will be talking about other social media platforms out there.
Thanks, Jaime. That's very valuable and important information on Facebook advertising and advertising objectives in general. So now let's switch gears and talk about Twitter. Twitter's the other major platform for social media advertising, and its big differentiator is its way it achieves brand awareness. And they do that through direct community engagement with its followers. So while you can run your standard ads of website traffic, app installs, and sales conversion, it's that direct conversational nature of Twitter that allows you to engage your audience. So how they track that stuff is with their own particular set of KPIs or key performance indicators. Those being retweets, tweets, mentions, replies, and then especially retweets with comments. Studies have shown that your replies are your biggest starter of conversations, and where brands see their biggest engagement is the back and forth with a primary tweet. So we have two great examples of how brands have effectively done this. The first one is a brand you guys have all heard of, and that's Chipotle. So a couple years ago, Chipotle ran a social media promotion using the NBA playoffs. Now, the NBA didn't have a partnership with Chipotle, so they had to use generic language, being the professional basketball playoffs, the professional basketball championships. But their primary objective was to increase brand awareness by giving away $1 million in burritos. How they did this is every time an announcer or a broadcaster would use the word free, as in free throw, they would tweet out a passcode that you would send to its SMS text message, and then they would give you that coupon code back. This was important. This was great, not just tweeting out a promo code, but it added an extra layer of engagement that their community had to do by texting a standard SMS number. That gave them an extra layer of tracking and then more statistics that they can evaluate and more analytics that they can evaluate. So this was a huge promotion that they did, and this took advantage of Twitter's more live interaction, because there's a lot of fans that tweet during NBA playoff games, college playoff games. So they took advantage of an active community that would see these tweets and kind of engage with that conversation of that live. Whereas Facebook might be, one post might be relevant for a week or two. The second example we have is a great example of community and conversational back and forth, which is Wendy's. Now, you might have seen Wendy's and their sometimes snarky, trollish tweets that they have against other brands, especially McDonald's, and other customers that ask about stuff. Now, it seems kind of counterintuitive to be snarky and to be kind of borderline rude on Twitter if you're a brand, but it showed that fans really love this kind of interpersonal touch to a brand. And in fact, most recent analytics showed that in the first year that Wendy's started doing this, their followers increased by 127%, which is astounding considering that the median rate of growth is 5.6% in the cafe and restaurant industry. So next we'll talk about two relatively newer platforms for social media advertising. These two platforms have the same general outlook of where brand awareness is their big objective. And as you know, that's the primary objective for most brands across social media. So the first one is Snapchat. Snapchat is great because, like Instagram, it's primarily photo and video focused, so you can create amazing content. And like Twitter, there's a lot of immediate real-time interactions with your community. Their big differentiator is their use of AR technology. And primarily that's used in their custom lenses that brands can create. One primary example of this is Taco Bell. Taco Bell, a couple years ago, during a taco promotion, created a custom lens that turned its users into a dancing taco. It's funny, it's great, it was clever, but the business impact of that is that Taco Bell measured 224 million interactions with this lens within a span of a couple of weeks. That was huge for their brand awareness and huge for that social media, for that Snapchat community. The second newer one is TikTok. Now, you might be familiar with TikTok. It's primarily focused on engaging with the youth, Generation Z and younger, but it's building bigger with millennials. So with TikTok, because it's newer and it's still trying to build out its advertising platform, it's kind of prohibitively expensive for smaller brands and smaller companies. Their minimum ad spend is about $25,000. So only the likes of like Apple, Expedia, Facebook are going to be able to primarily take advantage of those. However, the TikTok ad campaign managers suggest for smaller brands that there's a bigger way to build brand awareness, and that's with its influencers. So they recommend looking at the Discover page, looking at trending topics, and build videos about those, and then directly engage with TikTok influencers to do sponsored posts, in which you would pay them to create original content using your brand. So if you were Pepsi and you didn't want to pay for an ad, you could pay a TikTok influencer to drink Pepsi or do some kind of Pepsi video that was original. Or if you were a new water bottle company and the flip bottle challenge was the newer trending topic, then they could choose your brand to do the flip bottle challenge with. And that's a more affordable way that you can engage in TikTok advertising. So now that we've talked about all the objectives across a couple of different platforms, it can seem very daunting to have to juggle all of these different platforms and all of these different ad campaigns across your services. Fortunately, there's a lot of ad platforms that we can talk about, and we're going to talk about 3 of them that allow you to manage multiple accounts. So these tools and ad managers are Buffer, Hootsuite, and Sprout Social. Those are the biggest ones. And the nice thing about that is they let you manage multiple accounts for multiple brands, allow you to schedule and post your tweets, allow to reply to tweets, manage your feeds, and then it also allows you to build ad campaigns across all these different brands. Now you get the same insights and statistics that you would get from each individual platform, but you also get their proprietary statistics and insights as well. So that will conclude our overview of social media advertising objectives. Jaime and I would like to thank you for watching our presentation. And at this time, I'd like to open up the floor for some questions that you might have for us. Thank you.